Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for having the hearing. Offshore wind can play a key role in accomplishing our clean energy and climate ambitions. I'd suggest that to ensure the technology reach its full potential, we should do three things. We should level the playing field among energy technologies. We should reduce the regulatory burden for siting and permitting both offshore wind projects and the transmission infrastructure needed to bring that energy to market. And we should deploy innovative financing tools to make sure that the United States leads the world in advanced technology development. First, on incentives, I'm a strong supporter of the Clean Energy Payment Program. However, if that program is no longer politically viable, as we're hearing, we should add a price on carbon pollution to the Build Back Better bill. It's the only single budgetary tool that substantially reduces greenhouse gas emissions and raises significant revenue. And that fits squarely within the reconciliation process, which is restricted to federal outlays and revenues. It provides technology neutral and economy-wide incentives that would not assure an outcome with respect to renewables, but would allow wind to compete. Second, we have to reform our siting and permitting processes for major clean energy and transmission projects. As an example, my Power On Act, which is included in the bipartisan infrastructure bill, would clarify FERC's backstop siting authority and lead to more rapid deployment of interstate transmission projects. But I want to say here that I completely agree with the implication of Mr. Upton's questions that if we're serious about renewables and climate change, we cannot hold up the development of wind, solar, hydro, carbon capture, and nuclear projects. We have to get out of our own way if we claim this is a crisis, and we do believe it is a crisis. And third, we have to use the Department of Energy Loan Programs Office to accelerate the deployment of advanced offshore wind through loan guarantees. And I'd advocate for more funding for this office in the House Build Back Better Act. With that, I wanted to ask a couple questions and start with Ms. Zeichel about California in particular. I know that there's a easier deployment in the East Coast because of the way the ocean floor is. What's the potential for offshore wind off the coast of California, and what are the policy barriers to further deployment?
Well, thank you for your question. I couldn't be more excited about the opportunity for offshore wind in California. And earlier we were talking about the fact that the United States is behind when it comes to the deployment of offshore wind. But where I think the United States has the ability to lead the world is in the floating technology, and that's the kind of technology we need off the coast of California. It is a different, as you point out, it's a different ocean environment, but obviously one that we believe can contribute in a very meaningful way to clean, affordable power for families not only in California, but throughout the region. We are really we were excited to see the decision by BOEM to move forward with some leasing programs in call areas, Morro Bay and Humboldt. I know that those are getting those decisions made and seeing that process move forward has been a priority for you. It's certainly been a priority for the industry as well. I also think because we are looking at new technology, thinking through DOE funding and pilots would help to provide valuable experience that can be applied at scale on the West Coast, and that's certainly something we would love to work with you on.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Hardy, I want to give you a chance to respond to a question that was posed to Ms. Zeichel before about the U.S. being so far behind Europe in the development of offshore wind, and particularly what can we learn from Europe? What policies has Europe implemented that's contributed to a more rapid build out than here?
Yeah, I'd like to just discuss this price discussion. I think it would be helpful. Part of the reason that prices are higher here in the U.S. is because we're just standing up this industry and we have a lot of fixed costs in the beginning. We're doing port infrastructure, we're building $500 million ships, we're building factories, et cetera. Europe's been doing this for 30 years, so their supply chain is already built and they're on the variable cost curve. We're coming down on the variable cost curve related to the turbine technology, but eventually we'll have a prompt jump down and then continue on the cost curve once we get these fixed costs behind us. So what can the U.S. Congress do to help us get down that curve faster by helping us invest in these fixed costs, get these factories built, get these ports built, get the transmission built, and then we'll be on a low cost, variable cost like Europe is today in offshore wind.
So your advice is let's get started. I think the loan program at DOE is probably a helpful tool for that. Mr. Chairman, my time has expired and I yield back.